We're going to start lying on our back. Bring your feet to touch, and then let your knees open nice and wide onto the ground. Bring your left hand to your heart and your right to your belly. And just starting to come into your breath here. Start to deepen your breath and sending it throughout your body. Take big inhales and long exhales in and out through your nose. Maybe sending your breath to places that feel a little bit tight, or maybe need a little bit more extra love today. And then start to bring your mind to your mat. Yeah, being in the present moment right here and right now. When you're ready, hug your knees into your chest and start to just rock and roll back and forth. And then let your legs fall to the right side. Bring your arms out to a T, finding a spinal twist. Coming back to center. And then let your legs fall to the opposite side. Feeling your muscles start to activate and wrapping around your spine. Coming back to center. Hug your knees back into your chest and then starting to rock and roll the length of your mat. Till you come all the way up, crossing up over your legs, coming onto all fours. Moving into cat-cow here on your inhale, gaze up and drop your belly. And then on your exhale, tuck your chin around your back as you press away from the earth. Good inhale, coming forward. And exhale, tuck and round. Get a few more with your breath, moving as fast or as slow as your body is needing today. Find your way back to neutral and then starting to make head circles in one direction. And then switching directions. And switching back. Just moving it around here, loosening your neck. And then find your way back to center. Shift your weight forward up over your wrists and then start to sink your hips down by your heels as you make those big circular motions. You can keep that cat-cow in with it if it feels good. Again, you can make this movement as big or as small as you'd like. When you're ready, come back to neutral. Tuck your toes and downward facing dog. Send your hips nice and high. Start to pedal out your feet. Find some movement here. Again, keep that deep breath. Lift your right leg up to the sky. Bend at your knee and open up your hip. Straighten your right leg back out long. And then exhale to release downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Bend and peel it open. Straightening it back out long and downward facing dog release. Tiptoe your feet to your hands. Rag dog, grab opposite elbows, let your head hang nice and heavy. Swaying back and forth, shake your head yes, shake your head no. Let any tension just roll off your spine onto the ground. Good, heel toe your feet to touch and then one vertebrae at a time, rise all the way up to stand. High mountain, lift your arms up over your head. And then exhale forward, fold hands, come through heart center. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold, release. Inhale, rise up, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift. Forward fold, release. One more, rise up, high mountain. Exhale, hands through heart center, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Plant your hands, step back to a plank. Shift forward onto your big toes and then nice and slow, lower halfway, chaturanga. Bring your heart through upward facing dog. Exhale, hips go high, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and a long breath out. Good, inhale to gaze forward. Exhale to float or step your feet to meet your hands. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold, release. High mountain, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Plant your hands, step or float back. Start to flow through chaturanga here. On your inhale, upward facing dog, and on your exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, float or step your feet to your hands. Halfway lift. Forward fold, let it go. High mountain, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Again, flow with your breath. Step or float your feet back. Chaturanga, upward facing dog on your inhale. Downward facing dog on your exhale. Lift your right leg up to the sky. Stepping it in between your hands. And then rising up to a high crescent. So arms come up by your ears. Stack your right knee right over your right ankle and lengthen your back leg nice and long. Bring your left hand down as your right sweeps to the sky for a twist. Still keep that bend in your front knee. Bring both hands down to the mat to frame your foot. Step your right leg back. Chaturanga, option of keeping that leg lifted as you flow through with your breath. Left leg lifts to the sky. Step in between your hands. High crescent, arms come up by your ears. Again, lengthen that back leg nice and long. Bring your right hand down to the mat. Left stays lifted. Find that twist. One more big breath in. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your left leg back and flow. Chaturanga, upward facing dog to open up your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. And then exhale to float or step your feet to meet your hand. Lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up, high mountain. Forward fold, let it go. Halfway lift. Chaturanga, plant your hands, step or float back. Flow through with your breath. Right leg lifts to the sky. Knee to nose, engage your core. Good inhale, send it back out long. And then step in between your hands, windmill up, warrior two. Flip your front palm, reverse warrior. Right arm reaches to the sky, keeping your legs right where they're at, so that deep bend in your right knee. Coming back, warrior two. Straighten your right leg, reaching forward. Triangle pose, right hand comes down and left lifts to the sky. Imagine like you're being pressed between two panes of glass here. Good, lengthen one more. And then exhale, hands to the mat. Find a low lunge, plant your hands. Send your right leg back and flow, chaturanga. Upward facing, exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts to the sky. Knee to nose, engage your core. Inhale, send it back out long. Step in between your hands. Windmill up, warrior two. Flipping your front palm. Reverse warrior, left arm lifts up to the sky. Find that long line really lifting up. Bend in your left knee. One more breath in. And then exhale back to warrior two. Straightening your left leg, reaching forward. Triangle pose, left hand down and right reaches to the sky. When you're ready, bring both hands down to the mat. Find that low lunge. Plant your hands, step your left leg back. Chaturanga, flow through. Meeting in downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and a long exhale out. Inhale to gaze forward. Exhale to float or step your feet to your hands. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold, release. Rise up, high mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Chaturanga, start to flow through. Good. On this next sequence, we're going to start to link those two sequences that we've already done together. So our right leg will lift, knee to nose, engage your core. Send it back out long. Step in between your hands, rise up, high crescent. Good. Move with your breath here. Left arm down, right reaches for that twist. And then we're going to come up and open warrior 2. Flip your front palm, reverse warrior. Right arm reaches to the back. Keep that bend in your front knee. Coming back to warrior 2. Straighten your right leg. Reach forward, triangle pose. Right hand comes down and left lifts. Both hands down to the mat. Find that low lunge. Step your right leg back. Let it flow. Chaturanga, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts to the sky. Knee to nose. Inhale, back out long. Step in between your hands. Rise up, high crescent. We're going to bring that right hand down as that left lifts for that twist. When you're ready, windmill all the way up, warrior 2. Flip your front palm, reverse warrior, left arm reaches back. Warrior 2, coming back. Straighten your left leg, reach forward, triangle pose. Bringing both hands down to the mat, find your low lunge, bend that left leg, and then step that left leg back. Chaturanga, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a big breath in, and a long exhale out, let it go. Gaze forward, bring your feet to your hands. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold, release. Heel toe your feet hip width apart. And then take your peace fingers, grab your big toes. Release your head. You can bring a bend to your knees and just shake it out. Let it all go. Come back into your breath here. And then release your hands. Heel toe your feet back to touch. Halfway lift. Forward fold, release. Rise up, high mountain. Hands come to heart center. We're going to come into tree pose here. So our left leg is going to open up. You can either kickstand it, bring it to your calf, or you can use your hand to bring it all the way up to your thigh. When you're ready, open up your arms. Let your branches grow in whatever way feels good for you. Bring your hands back to heart center, keeping that leg still lifted. Send it straight back behind and find a low lunge here. Drop your left knee to the mat. Straighten your right leg. Let your right toes lift up off the ground as you stretch out your right hamstring. Let your head release. Coming back forward to that low lunge. Lift your back knee up off the ground. Pyramid pose. Step your left foot in and out. So you've got a wide stance on your mat here. Both feet are pointing towards the front of your mat. Keep your left hand planted as your right reaches for the twist. When you're ready, bring both hands back and then step your left foot to meet your right, forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold, release. High mountain, rise up. Hands come to heart center. Tree on the opposite side. Peel your right hip open and find a tree variation that feels good for you. When you're ready, let your arms open up and grow. Or you can interlace them behind your back to open up your heart a little bit more. Maybe gaze up. Doing what feels good for you here. When you're ready, slowly release and bring your hands back to heart center. Send your right leg back behind, letting it float back to that low lunge. Drop your right knee to the earth as you straighten your left leg. Let your left toes lift up off the ground. Release your head, stretching out your left hamstring. Coming back to that low lunge, lift your back knee up off the ground. Stepping into pyramid pose, both feet pointing towards 12 o'clock, square off your hips and let your head release down. Keep your right hand planted as your left opens up. Both hands back down. Step your right foot to meet your left, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Forward fold, release. High mountain, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Lengthen halfway. Chaturanga, plant your hands, step or float back. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts to the sky. Bring it through for half pigeon. Your right knee will be by your right wrist. Lengthen your left leg back long behind you. Inhale to open up your heart first, and then on your exhale, coming all the way down. You can come to your elbows or extend your arms out, whatever feels good here. Start to notice where your mind goes in these deeper stretches. Yeah, if it's starting to wander, bring it back to right here on your mat. When you're ready, press up to long arms. Send your right leg back and shake it out. Lift your left leg up to the sky. Half pigeon on the opposite side. Inhale to lift up first, open up, and then exhale, coming all the way down. Take a few more breaths. And then pressing up to long arms. Send your left leg back and shake it out. Coming back to downward facing dog. And then dropping to your knees. Coming all the way through and finding your way on to your back. Keep your feet planted on the ground with your knees bent. We're going to come into bridge pose here. So on your inhale, lifting up your hips, interlace your hands behind your back, and then start to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you, creating a little bit of a shelf. Lift your hips a little bit higher. One more breath in. And exhale to slowly release back down. Take a big inhale. And exhale, let it go. We'll do one more bridge pose. Inhale to lift up, lift your hips. Again, tuck those shoulders underneath. Also make sure your knees don't flare out here, so you can imagine like you're squeezing a block in between your knees. And exhale to release back down to your mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Then we're going to come back into a spinal twist here. Let your legs fall to the right side. Bring your arms out to a T. Noticing if you maybe feel a little bit different from the first of practice when we did our first spinal twist. Coming back through center and let your legs fall to the opposite side. Maybe noticing that you feel a little bit looser. Your mind is maybe a little bit clearer. When you're ready, bring your knees back to center. And then opening up, happy baby. So bend at your knees, make footprints on the ceiling. Grab the insides or outsides of your calves or your feet. If it feels good to rock and roll back and forth on your lower back, you can. Good, release and bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice big hug, one more tight squeeze. And then exhale to release, Shavasana. Let your arms and legs fall along by your side. Release your breath. Release the tongue from the top of your mouth. And just surrender into the earth. Start to bring small movements to your toes and your fingers, starting to wake your body back up. Reach your arms up over your head. Point your toes. Take a nice big breath in. And exhale, let it go. Roll to your right side. Use your arm as a pillow with your knees bent. And then pressing up to a seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Lifting your palms up to your forehead and third eye for loving thoughts. To your lips for loving words. And your heart for loving intentions. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.